Preparing to live stream. So we should be on there in just a moment. Okay, so it looks like we're here. Let me just refresh this real quick. Okay, there we go. So we're live, Autumn. So hello, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday Talks with Greg. My name is Greg Jamiel, and today we have a very special guest. I want to introduce you to Autumn Austin from Journey There Wands. Autumn is a wife, a mom to two amazing sons, a therapist, a Reiki master, and she's studied shamanism and evolutionary spirituality for over 9 years. Autumn, welcome to our group, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. Well, we wanted to talk a little bit about the beautiful wands that you make, and I wanted to give everyone a quick heads up too about the one that I got from Autumn. So a few weeks ago, I bought this beautiful sea urchin wand, a rattle, that I've been using for my ceremonies with people about balancing their chakras. And so oftentimes when I work with people, if their chakras are out of alignment, I'll kind of use my pendulum to find which ones are out of alignment with them. And I use that rattle along with my intention setting and offering some smoke of cedar or sage or sweetgrass or palo santo. And I use that sound of the rattle to kind of help bring that chakra back into alignment. And so that's just one way that I use it. But I know today we're going to talk a lot about the different tools that you make and how people can use them too. So I want to check in and make sure everyone can see us and hear us. And so there we go. We got a bunch of people commenting on there. So let's see. Let's ask the first question here. So Autumn, can you take a moment and introduce yourself? What's your story? How did you end up making tools and wands like this?
It was kind of magic. I am a therapist by trade, and I live out in the woods, and there's always sticks in the yard. So I was picking them up one day, and I actually heard, and I'm not somebody who hears things, but I actually heard you should make a wand. And I'm like, whatever, I just made that up. And so I'm just picking up sticks. And so the next time I was picking up sticks, I heard it again. And I thought, well, I mean, because I don't hear, I should go pay attention. So I just took some sticks in and started playing with them and took them to my friends. And I said, well, this is what happened. What do you think? And they were like, so excited. And that's how it kind of started. It's just little by little, trust by trust, built and built and built. And it's like the most fun I've ever had in my whole life. It's so fun. Yeah.
Well, they're beautiful, Autumn. I've looked up and down your website of all of your offerings there, and they are absolutely breathtaking. So I encourage people to go check out Autumn's website at journeytherewands.com to see them for yourself, because they really are spectacular. And like I said, I was on the hunt for a rattle, and to see one that had the sea urchin on it, it just reminds me, I grew up in Rhode Island, and so by the ocean, that's a very important thing for me. And to have that sea urchin rattle, it just reminds me of the water and connects me back with that. So can you talk a little bit about the different things that you've chosen to add into your tools and what made you choose them? I know some you have rocks and some are shells and feathers. And could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I would love to. Yes, there's all different kinds of woods, ayahuasca vines, horns, all kinds of different feathers and pieces and parts, sometimes teeth. And I don't know, Greg, it just kind of magically plops in. Like I used to call it the makers coming to help me make.
Sure.
And then part of the process for me was starting to own that too. Like there was part of me that needed the makers. We did it together. And it just comes together. Like usually I start with what I call the anchor, which is a piece of wood or a horn or vine. And it kind of guides me of where to go next, like what crystals and what parts. And it just magically comes together. And together, the parts are their own, but they're also a gestalt. They're a bigger piece. Yes. So it feels like to me that each piece has its own little spirit. that comes to work with you when you bring it home.
Mhm.
Like it knows where it's supposed to go. That's the way it feels to me.
Yeah.
So
Well, I feel it too, because again, when this rattle came in the mail, I was like, this is it. It's home. It's finally arrived where it's supposed to be. So I thank you for that beautiful gift as well.
thank you for
And
bringing it
can you
home.
maybe, absolutely. And I know that you have a few examples with you. Can you maybe show a few different pieces of your work and maybe
Oh,
talk about the
sure.
difference between a necklace versus a rattle versus a fan? Because we've done a
Yeah.
lot of work with smudging in this group, and it's something that is really intriguing to people. And just to let you guys know at home, if anyone has a question, please write your question in for myself or Autumn, and we'll make
hmm
sure we get to those at the end of the talk as well.
Yes. So this is my personal helper. It's not for sale, but it's been with me for a very, very long time. It's kind of magic. I did some really, really powerful work one weekend. And when I came home, there was a whole flock of this bird in my tree beside where my car was, and they left me these gifts. So this is my shadow helper when I'm doing shadow work, where I'm working on myself to
Mhm.
grow and be better. This is my helper, and I call it in. It, I mean, I use it to smudge, but I also use its power to help me, whether it's just sitting on my altar or in my lap, to help me bring in those particular energies for what I need in
Mhm.
that moment, in that work.
Mhm.
But I also have what I call traveling wands. They're necklaces. And this is my one of my favorites is spirit quartz, which I kind of have a spirit quartz thing happening tomorrow. So I'm excited to talk about that. But this spirit quartz is one of the very most powerful crystals for just opening us up to
Mhm.
spirit and to the other side of the veil
Mhm.
and bringing in that powerful healing energy to wake us up. And it's the cool part about spirit quartz. Can you see it, Greg? It has little tiny points all over
Yes.
it.
Yep.
And it's so when we know when we have a point in a quartz, we can use that to to channel to point the energies.
Yeah.
But this has it pointing everywhere. It's like a spectralite of light. It just surrounds us. So when I
Awesome.
wear it, it wraps that light around me.
Mhm.
But when I use it in like a wand, like this one, I can use it to hold my intention. I can use it to power things that I want, like to power a crystal grid
Mhm.
or to call in sacred space in all
Yep.
kinds of ways.
Beautiful. And I want to show too there, Autumn. I'm going to put this up to the camera. So when Autumn was talking about the points, here's a crystal here, and this is what she was referring to, the tip of it. And so Autumn, I don't know if they could really see that. Maybe you could
Hmm.
hold that crystal up to the camera again, just to
Oh,
see what you
sure.
were saying. There's points all over it. I just couldn't know if they could see. Yeah, like there you go.
That better?
Yes. Yeah.
I
So
see
that's a
there's little tiny points everywhere.
yep.
It's called spirit quartz.
Yep. And then
Spirit
we
quartz.
do a lot of work too. We're doing a course right now on the chakras. So many of our group members are taking this chakra course. Do you have different suggestions? I know people often ask about which crystals can help them balance their chakras. And I know there's
Hmm.
different crystals for each one that I use. And I'd love to hear your perspective on this. Which crystals do you associate with each of the chakras?
Oh gosh. For the root chakra, I love garnet. Garnet is one of my favorites, and red jasper.
Yep.
And then for the sacral, carnelian, and there's a special kind of garnet that's orangey. I can't remember the name of it.
Mhm.
I just all of the orange stones, but citrine for our bellies,
Yep.
for our solar plexus, and my favorite heart stone is malachite.
Mhm.
But there's so many good ones: moss agate and aventurine, and spirit quartz is really good for your heart. My favorite throat chakra is lapis,
Mhm.
and then my favorite third eye is charoite. Do you know that one?
I
It's
don't
a
know that one.
beautiful purple. It's got shiny and all about evolution, and third eye is a beautiful crystal.
Beautiful. And how do you encourage people to work with crystals from your perspective in terms of bringing balance into their chakras and alignment? Do you like to meditate with the crystals, or do you just have them nearby? Or what specifically do you do that helps yourself balance the chakras or your own chakras?
Mm. Gosh, I think all of those. I think it really depends on our intention. If I'm going to hold it in me and put it on me, and I'm putting my attention there,
Mhm.
but if I'm sitting it beside me on my desk, and every time I look over, I see it, I feel like that works too. So, however, we can bring it into our awareness over and over and over. My teacher always said persistently and consistently, over and over and over, bring that into our awareness. That's how we really change ourselves.
Yep.
So if we put it in our pocket, I have some friends who wear it in their bras. However you bring it into your attention is how it's going to change us. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. And so now that we have, we're talking about the crystals and the energies of that. When you have, I think you have another piece that you were showing, that wand that it looked like a purple wand that had that crystal on the end of it. How would
Uh-huh.
someone, if they were going to use a wand like that in their own home ceremony, how would you incorporate that wand? What would the use be for that?
First, I would use it to open sacred space by drawing
Hmm.
a star around myself.
Hmm.
Um, and then, depending on what my intention was, I might build a crystal grid around it
Hmm.
or put my intention, write it out, and sit it on my wand on that intention to hold it for me. And then, again, it's about that persistence. So coming back to it every day and remembering that intention and renewing my commitment to that,
Yeah.
and even feeding the wand sometimes, like coconut oil on the wood to make it moist, or giving it some sacred smoke, some smudge. Because any of that attention that we give to our intentions, we're growing that dream for ourselves.
Hmm.
So I think that all of the sacred helpers really are here to help us hold those intentions in whatever way feels right for us.
Hmm.
But yeah, does that
Yeah,
answer your
absolutely.
question?
Yes, it does. And so the next question I'd have is, when a lot of people want to do these things at home. So you said even when you're out walking around your woods, and I live in the woods too, up here, and I oftentimes find beautiful pieces of wood. We live by the Tolt River, and the Tolt River is where Seattle gets a lot of its drinking water. And in the
Mm.
wintertime, that river is raging through, and it's beautiful to go see the dynamic movements of the land around the river after every
Mm.
wet season, because the flooding just turns things over. And what I
Yes.
oftentimes find are these beautiful sticks that at one time were branches, and they've been broken off
Yes.
and kind of tumbled through the river. So they're really
Mm-hmm.
smooth. It almost looks like a piece of driftwood you'd find in the ocean, but I find them here
Yeah.
in the river. So what would you suggest for people if they wanted to make something of their own, something special, a tool for their own ceremonies? How would they go about finding something appropriate? I know, I'll rephrase this question. A lot of people oftentimes go, where do I start? I want to make a
Mm.
tool for myself, and I found a
Yes.
beautiful piece of wood, but how do I know what's right how do you put it together? And should it be a fan versus a wand versus a necklace? What would you advise for that?
I would say sit with that piece of wood, or sit with that piece, that anchor piece that you found, and allow it to inform you, and play with your creativity. Spirit talks to us through our imagination. So allow that to just play and follow your intuition. Play with it, have fun. If it starts stressing you out, put it down and start over in a little while. But it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to jazz you up, and just
Yes.
follow your heart.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a huge piece of advice too, in any situation, following your heart. I mean, people
Yes.
nowadays, we're so disconnected from the neck down. We live in
Mm.
our heads about so many things. So, and I'll be honest, I even face things too where I know what to do in my heart, but I have that struggle between my heart and my head. Can you suggest any
Absolutely.
type of crystals or tools that may be helpful in terms of aligning that heart energy and really kind of allowing us to live by that place rather than overthinking things in our mind?
Mm. One of the very best crystals for that is selenite. It
Selenite.
really helps kind of filter out, so you can go, oh, that's an ego-based thought I'm just having.
Yeah.
So it's really good to have, and it draws in the light as well, so it raises our vibration just by being near us.
Mhm.
One of my favorite. Yeah. Yes.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
every time you take your crystals off, like your all the bracelets, and put it on a piece of selenite, it clears it like immediately.
Yep.
One of the best ways to just clear all your chakras, selenite. One of
Selenite.
my favorite stones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so Lindsay has a question here that she says, I would love to know what that stone was for the third eye that you mentioned. Can you talk about that one more time?
Oh, charoite is spelled Charoite. Charoite. And it's purple. And let me put this one up here. Can you see it a
Is
little
that
bit?
it? Is that a piece of it right there?
Uh-huh. You see,
Beautiful.
I don't know if you can tell, it has a little bit of shiny
Yep. Has some
feldspar. It's,
marbleizing texture in there.
yes, yes, it's beautiful. It's all about evolution and opening your third eye and tuning in and being your highest self. I think one of its things is realizing that you're the co-creator of your life.
Awesome. Well, and that's a very important statement too, Autumn, because a lot of the things that we talk about here is us taking 100% responsibility for the energy that runs through our body. So a lot of times we may feel like we're in a funk or out of balance or just kind of unmotivated. And so, what
Mm.
are some things that you can suggest? If it's using your tools, that's fantastic, but anything at all that can help people kind of get that fire going within them and know that they have to commit to really wanting to change and bring change in their life?
Mm. What makes them want to do that? Wow, that's the
Well, what's
$20
something
million
that
dollar
can help?
question.
What's something
Yeah,
that can help that desire? I mean, we have that in
yeah.
our heart, but do you have certain tools that you use personally when you need that extra support or extra boost from the earth?
Hmm. I going outside in nature is one of my very favorite things.
Yep.
Connecting to the land and the trees, and then having a fire, just sitting by the fire and putting all of the yuck in there and letting it fuel us up and refuel that passion and make us want to take steps. My very favorite thing is fire. Yes.
Yes, fire, grandfather fire is amazing. I talk about that often here too. So Heidi wrote something. Heidi says, I always find great pieces of wood when I'm out walking. I bring them home to my stone wall. I call them art, but now I'm going to see if I can make something that speaks to me. So Heidi, that's a fantastic option. And we have a
Uh-huh.
beautiful river rock kind of border around our flower bed in the front of the house. And so every time I go to the river too, if I see a stone that kind of stands out to me, I bring it home and put it in our riverbed. So there's a bunch of different colors and there's
Oh,
things like
very
that.
cool.
Autumn, you had mentioned that about kind of collecting things that speak to you. Can you suggest a little bit more about that? Are there, if someone finds a feather out in the woods, just like one feather, what's something that they can bring home and make with that feather to make a tool that's special for themselves?
Oh gosh, they could wrap it in leather and put some strings around it and put it in a sacred place. Yes, there's so much that we can do with what is out there. One of my favorite things is an apochetto. Have you ever heard of it? It's
I
like
have it.
it's a rock altar. So I just collect the rocks from my land and I just have this beautiful altar
Yep.
to the mother. Um, it's just we can use if something calls to us, we should listen. I
Yes.
mean, why not?
Yep.
Right? What do we got to lose? It's calling.
Absolutely.
Just pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
no, go ahead.
we just question so much. We question ourselves and why should I? Because why not? Just
Yes.
do. Trust.
Yeah, and if it feels good, there's often a reason behind that.
Yeah.
It's funny because a lot of times when people ask, how do I find what kind of crystal I'm supposed to get? Or if I want to buy a smoky quartz, how do I go find one of those? And sometimes they end up on Amazon. And I always say, like, don't buy things online like that. Like, go feel them, look at them, let
Yeah.
them kind of call out to you. And they really do. There's one, whether it's the way it looks or the way it makes you feel when you hold it, maybe there's a heaviness, a weight to it that kind of
Hmm.
calls out to you. And they oftentimes say, the same thing as drums, where they say the drum finds you. I feel crystals are also a similar thing, where the crystal
Yes.
finds you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. They call us for sure.
they
Like
do.
they know they've been waiting for us to come find them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and so I want to talk a little bit more about the rattles. So I saw a bunch of rattles that you offer. Can you talk about how you use these rattles, or how someone may use this at a ceremony for their own home?
Mm. Well, like as you said, one of the best ways to use it is to clear our own energy, or open our chakras, and
Yep.
um, we can clear our space with the rattle
Yep.
and our intention. Um, and we can work on specific chakras if we need to by
Yep.
spinning the rattle around there
Yep.
and just opening them up. Um, if I love to also use it, one of the lighter ones, to
Yeah.
do my own little journey. like the rattle, it takes
Yep.
me deep into my meditation.
Yes.
And if they're light enough, it doesn't hurt, and you can just,
Yep.
yeah,
It's very similar to the drum. You know, when we hear that heartbeat of the drum, that's that slow drum beat over and over again, it does help us kind of shift into a different mindset. We can slip
yes.
into that meditative state. And I've used that rattle on myself too to kind of keep that little shoo, 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 that energy going. And it really does bring us someplace different, which is kind of beautiful. Yeah.
Absolutely, it does.
And so how do you specifically choose different elements? Like I know you said before that when you have pieces together, something may call out to you and you kind of just put it together. But when you're creating a tool at home, do you have a vision of where that tool is going or how it's going to be used? And maybe because I know you have some pieces that have horns in them, some have bones
Mhm.
or teeth in them or wood. So
Mhm.
why choose a horn versus a piece of wood? For you, what is the answer to that?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Um, because that's just what I was told. That's just the way I was led. Gosh, I don't know. Because some things are meant to sit like, oh, on your altar and anchor things in there, and they're big and you feel it. But
Yes.
some things are meant to be held, and some things are meant to be swished around, so they need to be a little bit lighter, right? So
Yep.
I guess there is an intention from the beginning, although I don't always know it until
Sure.
the end.
Yeah.
Sometimes I know it in the middle, but I just, yeah, sometimes it's, but I feel like something knows from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's that trust too that we talked about too, that trust of spirit. There's something driving this. I mean, you've crossed the path of that piece of wood or crystal that you found or feather. And so it's coming to you for a reason at that time. Now, do you also, Amber, do specific custom pieces for people?
I do, but can I go backwards just a sec?
Yes, of
When
course.
you talk about feathers, or when you see an animal cross your space that you're not used to, that's powerful medicine. So just take heed to that. What
Yes.
does that mean? And what are they trying to tell me? Or what, there's something powerful there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So when we
Yeah.
were, so someone had written in here, Kelly wrote in, do you do custom pieces and do you
Mm,
interview the person to get a sense of what they're looking for with that tool? Like a specific, let's say I want to get over, or work through the grieving process. Do you make tools that are specifically used for different emotional reasons?
yes, absolutely. And I do make custom pieces. And when they ask me, my question to them is, what is your intention for it?
Yep.
And just give me as much of that as you can, and then spirit and their guides will guide me to build for that intention. Absolutely.
Beautiful. And let me ask you this too, because I'm an artist as well. And I definitely have beautiful pieces that I kind of keep for myself because I just love them so much, or I give them to a family member, someone really special. But what is one of the most favorite pieces that you've made yourself? What tool is that? Or would it be?
Oh gosh. Well, I love almost all of them, each one when I make it. But the sweetest one that pops in my head recently made from a beautiful lady in Canada. She, from her parakeet, she saved the feathers from her beloved parakeet, and she sent them to me, and I made her a necklace. And it was so sweet. So yeah, that was
That's
my favorite
beautiful.
one that's popping.
That's great. Well, and Heidi asked a great question. Heidi, thank you so much for this question. It's wonderful. Heidi asked, are there crystals that should never be put together?
Oh,
Like maybe like counterbalancing, because with this chakra process that we're talking about confusion in the chakras can lead to a blockage. So, if you're
mm,
angry at your boss every day and that those feelings come up and then you stifle them down over and over again, that chakra gets confused. Are there
yes.
crystals that may have a confusing energy towards each other and are best to be kind of used in separate ways?
Mm. Now they're popping in my head, Greg. I can't think of any. I
Okay.
mean, like, you don't want to put maybe, I don't even know. I don't think that no, I don't think so.
Okay,
Not that I
that's
can think
awesome.
of.
Yeah, that's good to know because again, all of us are learning about crystals a lot, and it's important to
Yeah,
know that maybe we build something just because they look good together, but their energies might be counterintuitive. So
right.
that's a good thing to know. Now
And
you
there
have
might be something that I'm not thinking of, but it's not coming to mind if there is. Yeah.
sure. Well, you had also mentioned Autumn that you're doing a course starting tomorrow, and what is that class about? What is that course about?
Oh no, it's a collection. I'm dropping a
Oh, a
collection tomorrow in my
collection.
shop. Yes, it's
Fantastic.
a spirit quartz collection. So it's all spirit quartz things. There's a few wands and necklaces and a big piece with the spirit quartz on it. So yeah, I'm very excited because it really is really one of my favorite stones to go to just overall help with
Yes,
things. Yeah,
that's awesome.
spiritual things.
And now people can visit you on your website, journeytherewands.com, and also Etsy. I found Autumn on Etsy, which is where I got my rattle from Autumn. And so which do you prefer? Do you like people to go to your website, or how's the best way to get in touch with you, Autumn?
Well, Etsy is wonderful because you can see other people's reviews. So
Yep.
then you feel trust, you feel like more trust, and or you could reach out with Instagram or
Yep.
Facebook on Journey There Once. I'd love to talk to you there. Um, yeah.
And are both of those, like, they can find you by searching the at Journey Their Wands, and they'll find you on
Yes.
Instagram and Facebook and all of those things.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And do you have anything else that you'd like to share? I know I've been asking all the questions today, but what are some things that you want to come and talk to our group about? What's something that you'd like to share with them? I know we only have a few more minutes, but I just want to get your perspective on things as well.
I think the most important thing that I have learned throughout my years of healing, this because building the wands has been my healing,
Yes.
is that the more we heal ourselves, the more we heal those around us. It just trickles out. The more I have healed, the more my family has healed, even though they didn't really do that work.
Yeah.
And we know that collectively, the more we heal, the more that we are changing the world around us and changing the world we dream of having. So just keep doing your work. And remember that there's not a place that you get to that it's all done. I think it's just there's more and more and more until the day we leave this plane.
Yeah.
And that's because that's the way it's supposed to be. So embrace that and love on that and know that when you're uncomfortable, you're growing and that's okay.
It is. Yeah, and that's a beautiful lesson for everyone too. And it's funny because it's that Western mindset that says, once I learn this thing, I'll be done, and that's it.
Yes.
And it really, I always look outside at these trees, and it's like no one ever tells that tree that it's done growing. It just
Mm-hmm.
continues to grow, and so we can continue to grow and expand our minds too. And it's really, for me, I look at nature a lot and take inspiration and teachings from nature too. Where do you
Yes.
get some of your teachings from?
From nature for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Autumn, thank you so much for joining us today. And once again, everyone, you can find Autumn's beautiful work on journeytherewands.com or on Facebook, Etsy, or Instagram too. And so,
Thank
Autumn,
you so
I just
much,
want to
Greg.
say thank you again. It was a pleasure to get to talk to you and get to work with you today. And I hope all of our friends, we have lots of beautiful comments here too. Lots of people saying how wonderful you are and how they're your favorite. Lindsay Griffin is speaking very highly of you over here. So thank you,
Oh,
Lindsay, for watching, and Bonnie as well too. Good to see you guys. And again, Autumn, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and I wish you much luck in your launch tomorrow with your crystals.
thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming to see us. It was
Awesome.
an honor to be with you.
Beautiful. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.